I ignored his warnings about texting while driving because everyone else was doing it, so I thought it was okay. I thought I was invincible, but clearly, I was completely wrong. I ignored his warning.
This young lady, Liz Marks, changed her life forever because she took a moment to read a text from her mom while driving. She is clearly lucky to be alive. If you had time to watch her entire video, you would see that she had her whole life ahead of her, but she suffered these permanent injuries due to texting while driving. And we can all think back to a day of the most terrible event or car accident we had ever heard about. Screams of the victims, bystanders trying to help. Off in the distance, a siren fast approaching to respond to the accident. And then you hear of the fatalities involved, a mother, a father, and a child. This is a problem in America, and an epidemic in fact, called texting and driving. Why does this affect us? Well, 20 years ago, this wasn't a problem. The problem then, as it is today, was alcohol and impaired driving due to the result of folks who had been getting into the vehicle after drinking or on drugs. Now, we've complicated things a little bit more. Cell phones, or sometimes a combination of all three, and it's a major distraction. A distraction is anything that prevents somebody from giving their full attention. According to the CDC, the minimum amount of time your attention is taken away from the road is 5 seconds while texting. If you were driving at 55 miles an hour, this is equal to the length of a football field. And for every 5 seconds that you take your eyes off the road, it's equivalent to a 0.08 blood alcohol level, legally drunk. Additionally, 1 in 5 people admit to surfing the web while driving. Things like finding out who liked your status on Facebook or what they commented on your photo. Or if you're like me and you get lost, then you're trying to find directions or possibly traffic updates. And it is shown that users with hands-free devices or Bluetooth are not any safer. Well, why is this? It's because, according to an article called Texting While Driving, human beings quickly memorize mundane tasks and turn it over to the subconscious mind for completion. Somehow, we have convinced ourselves that paying attention to the road is monotonous, to the point that we do not have to pay attention to it, which is extremely dangerous. It is a major distraction, and it's seriously dangerous, or even fatal. Because texting and driving distracts the driver so much, it is a major cause of car accidents. According to a video called Texting While Driving, Creating the Perfect Storm of Distraction, crash risk increases 23-fold, which is 2,300% for a driver who is texting versus just driving alone. And these accidents are not minor traffic accidents. Approximately 3,300 lives were lost in 2012 alone. And out of that 3,300 lives, it all could have been prevented. Don't text, don't drive. 3,300 lives lost, in addition to the 421,000 injuries, may have been minor injuries, or it may have been serious injuries. Some may have never recovered. According to the National Safety Council, the use of cell phones causes 26% of the nation's car accidents, which means that 26% is entirely preventable. Well, you may be asking yourselves, why does this apply to me? I mean, I have a cell phone, but I don't even talk on it. Or maybe I don't even have a license. It may not involve you specifically, but what about him or her? Or what about that lady in front of you? Or those teenagers behind you? Other drivers pose a danger while we are traveling on the road together. So if they're texting and driving, it can endanger you as well. And this brings me to another point I want to make against texting and driving, having to do with legal action. Some of us have heard that it is now against the law to text and drive. But what's really going to happen if I get caught? Well, it really depends on where you live, and the penalties vary from state to state. According to an article by CBS News, the nationwide maximum penalty for first-time offenders is in Alaska, with a $10,000 fine and 1 year in jail. Wow. Here in Florida, we cannot even be pulled over for texting and driving. However, the fine of $30 is compounded by our other tickets we may have received. If you injure and kill another person, you can also be criminally charged. In those cases where injury and death result, indictments for manslaughter are written, and the responsible party is sentenced to jail time. In closing, I know I've convinced you that texting and driving is incredibly dangerous, and it's also entirely preventable. Through my demonstration, I hope I've shown that it causes distraction of the driver, dangerous, if not fatal, accidents, and it could also result in fines, tickets, and even jail time. So I truly hope my presentation helped you all to decide to value your life and all of our lives and not text and drive anymore. And please don't do it again in the future. Are there any questions? Yes, ma'am?
Will your insurance company pay if you're in an accident resulting from texting and driving?
Well, actually, no. I think they've passed a law that if you were caught actually texting and driving, the insurance company doesn't have to pay for any of the damages that you caused while driving. Ma'am?
Are there any devices out that tells you if other people around you are texting and driving?
Well, I haven't heard of them. Like, you know, like the radar thing that catches the cops around you. I haven't actually heard of that.
Okay.
How many people a day you say died?
9. 9 people a day and about 1,200 injured in this country.
I understand that there's some apps out there that you can put on your phone that while you're driving, if you receive a text, it pushes another text out automatically. It says, I'm driving, I'll contact you when I'm stopped.
That'll be good use unless you're trying to activate it while driving.
No, it does it automatically.
Oh, okay, so your car just does it for you. That's interesting to hear.
I think you did a wonderful job, Tracy.
Thank you.
You articulated that very well. It was full of a lot of very important information. Maybe next time you could memorize your speech a little bit so you're not looking down so much.
Okay.
Great.
Thanks.
Yeah, be there.